There are two types of enemies, outer and inner. The outer enemy, example, last time President Reagan and President Bush were loggerheads for the 80s or 90s, one of those presidential campaigns where Reagan won, I forgot. Anyway, they were loggerheads, they were presidential debates, and they really tore each other apart. You know, the American candidates, they have these debates, presidential debates. And whoever scores very high, they look very good, and people vote for them. So they were at loggerheads with each other, and they hated each other, and they spoke against each other in front of the whole nation on national TV, and this went on and on and on through the whole campaign. This just went non-stop through the whole campaign. And so what happened was but when President Reagan won, he asked Bush to be his vice president. And then they became very good friends. And they talked to each other. And they spoke about each other, and they promoted each other. Vice president would say, oh, you know, Mr. President would say this and this and this. The president would say, oh, my vice president would be saying this and this and this. So my point is that they were mortal enemies. And they were going for the biggest seat in the United States. And they really did not like each other. And they had millions of dollars campaigning against each other, smearing each other. They spent millions and millions of dollars campaigning and hating each other and finding dirt on each other. I mean, they're promotional machines. They're marketing people. They actually smeared each other in public. They actually had people smearing them. They actually have, paid people to campaign against each other. They were really, really against each other. But when Ronald Reagan won, he got Bush as his vice president. And they became friends. And they supported each other's policies. They became one administration. So outer enemies, if we show kindness. Outer enemies, if we show consideration and with patience. Outer enemies with patience and consideration and kindness. And some sort of empathy. We can become friends. So when we show love and kindness and care and tolerance to enemies or people we find difficult, eventually they can become our very good friends. Your inner enemies is very different. Your inner enemies, if you are compassionate to and kind to and loving towards and nurture and protect and hide, your inner enemies become bigger and bigger and bigger, and you will never be able to be friends with them. What's your inner enemies? Ego. Oh, I said no. Now I can't say yes because I'll look bad. So you need to give me face and find a way for me to come back in. That's an inner enemy. So the more we nurture this inner enemy, the more we take care of it, the more we placate it, the bigger it becomes, and it never becomes our friend. Anger. Anger is our inner enemy. No matter how good we treat the anger, no matter how many people we yell at and tell off and slap and hit and get back and be vindictive with, that inner enemy will be bigger enemies with us. They will never become our friends. They will take away and rob us of our peace of mind and happiness and success. Why? Nobody likes to hang around a vindictive, angry, ugly person. So your inner enemy, no matter how much you take care and nurture, never, ever, never, ever improve. Laziness is a huge inner enemy. People who take care of their laziness is when they're given an assignment or they have to do something, they always make excuses for not completing it. They always are very fast to justify why I didn't do it, why I didn't finish this, how come I couldn't finish this. And you know what? They take care of this inner enemy, this laziness so well that they lose their business, they lose their friends, they lose respect, they lose self-respect, and they end up lying and covering and lying, even to the point where everybody knows you're lying and you're covering, yet you still do it because you nurture this enemy so much. So no matter how much you nurture this inner enemy of laziness, it never becomes your friend. It never brings you benefit. It never, ever benefits you short, medium, long, and far distant future. Ever. You check it out. So when you nurture laziness, when you nurture the ego, when you nurture selfishness, me, always me. When you nurture this, that is your inner enemy. And the more you nurture this inner enemy, the more you take care of this inner enemy, The more you placate it, the more you protect it, the more stupid you look, the more dumb you look, the more outer friends you lose, the more opportunities you lose. Why? Because you take care of the wrong enemy. So some of us have a huge ego not to lose face. We all, even at the expense of losing face, we don't want to lose face. Even at the expense of not being able to learn anything or do anything. We're willing to go through it to save people from knowing we don't know anything. We don't know anything. That's why I say, be kind to other people. Be tolerant to other people. Be generous to other people. Because you've been generous. If you're generous with yourself, you don't get anywhere. To anybody who has wisdom of any sort, of any level, will say, you're not generous to yourself, you're just selfish. Who appreciates selfishness? But generosity toward the enemy, or people that disappointed you, or drag you down, or hurt you, or people who are just plain problematic, by being tolerant towards them, by being generous towards them, by showing them love and forgiving them and hugging them and giving them gifts and giving them dharma, by doing that, there's a chance they can become your friend. There's a chance that you can, after becoming friends, you can benefit them. And there's a chance to let people like that know compassion exists. Kindness exists. And when they know that kindness and compassion exist, hence they can see a ray of light that perhaps Buddhas do exist. Why? Because from our level to a Buddha is very far. Right now, for some of us in the audience, a Buddha is just a statue or a picture that doesn't move or talk. And we're told they are compassionate, they are nice, they are wonderful, they're full of blessings. We are told that. We are told that. So we need to experience this Buddha nature by stop nurturing our inner enemies. Our greed, our hoarding for money, our greed for money, our wish for money, and justifying it with all types of silly excuses that normal people will not be able to penetrate through, but people with wisdom will say, no, that's not it. So my point is, if you nurture the outer enemy, the gains are bigger. By nurturing the outer enemy, you are able to destroy the inner enemy. Why? If you're tolerant to other people, you destroy impatience. If you're generous to other people, you destroy miserliness. If you're empathetic towards other people, you gain compassion. And with compassion and generosity and patience, you become a person of high value and high respect, and one who can lead, and one who can morally and push and encourage others to come out of their doldrums, to come out of their black holes, to come out of their negative habituations. We think we can win people over if our hair is nice. We think we will win people's respect and love if our clothes is nice, or if we're wealthy. Well, there are people in this room who have been famous, who've had great hair, who've eaten good food, who've been with the best lovers, who've been to traveling, they wear the most wonderful clothes. Then why are you still lonely and in the doldrums? Because you've been nurturing this inner enemy. So when we nurture the inner enemy, outer enemies increase and get more. And the present outer enemies become hardened and hate us further. So when we are friends with our inner enemy, outer enemies become more and they remain as enemies. When we nurture our outer enemies, then our inner enemies disappear. And the outer enemies of becoming friends are higher, and new people will not become enemies. That creates world peace. That creates inner peace. That creates spiritual peace. That is spirituality. Inner peace is devoid of inner enemies. So we have to think carefully. What have we been protecting? I have seen with my own eyes and witnessed with my own ears and my own senses of people who have very bad habits, and people have told them thousands of times what their habits are. And their reaction is not to change it or transform it or to do something about it. Their reaction is to defend. Get angry, ignore you, avoid you, not look you in the eye, not see you. That's their way. And when they avoid you, not see you, they push you away, you know what happens? They are nurturing the inner enemy again. Very simple. Very, very simple. So when we are greedy, when we are miserly, and then we justify, oh, because I have to take care of this, I have to take care of this, I have this commitment, I have that commitment, and we're very sneaky about our money, we're very sneaky about our finances, and we're always trying to get people to pay for us, or we wait for someone to prompt us, or we try to use people. For that moment, we use them, we got a free meal, we got a free jacket, we got a free ride, we got a free book, we use them, we got that for the moment. And we have nurtured that greediness. But eventually people catch on and say, no. And you lose a friend. And what's more is, you lose respect. And then people talk about you. People always complain, why do people talk about me? Why do people hate me? Why do people gossip about me? Because you're very selfish. Very simple. So outer enemies should be nurtured. Outer people who disturb us, we should practice patience with. Until there is no practice and it's spontaneous. And when we slip, step back up again. When you slip, step back up again. Slip is fine. Don't stay down. Step back up again. But I'm telling you, make your outer enemies your friends. It's very powerful. With some people, you have to scold them from love. And then give them a hug. From some people, you have to give them gifts. Some people, you have to be patient. For some people, you have to talk. Some people have to take something away. With some people, you have to give them more pressure. With some people, you have to tease them to death. With some people, you have to talk about them. Some people have to listen to them more. Whatever it takes to benefit that person, to open up, to become a kinder person, do it. Just do it. You don't have to be a monk or not, just do it. You know why you have to do it? Because you're a human being and you believe in eradicating poverty. Start right here. Very simple.